don't know who did this sculpture, but it looks like 3 fish heads performing in a blues band. You have one fish right here playing the sax. You have one fish right here in the middle playing the guitar, strumming away. And you have this one fish at the far right playing the accordion. So it looks like they got something going on right here. but in all seriousness, this is a really dope sculpture. Looks like it's made out of like some iron. Good morning, this is P9 coming at you guys with another video. And today I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm in the Lou, St. Louis, Missouri, right outside the St. Louis Justice Center. As you can see, St. Louis City Justice Center right here, and right across the street over there is the St. Louis City Hall. And I'm over here on Tucker Boulevard. Now this is St. Louis. Now St. Louis is an independent city, meaning it is not tied to any county jurisdiction. So St. Louis is an independent city right here in Missouri. And it sits near the confluence of the Missouri and Mississippi rivers. Now, it was the French who came to St. Louis to settle. It was a multitude of French fur traders by the name of Pierre Leclerc, Auguste Chateau, and Gilbert Antoine Saint-Maximin. But prior to that, the Native American Mississippian tribe inhabited the land, which is for many years prior to European settlement and the establishment of St. Louis. So it looks like right now I'm over here around a few of the government buildings. I'm at the corner of Tucker and Boulevard and Market Street. Let me go down Market Street, check them out. This is the judicial court that I'm out on the side of right now. It's the U.S. Courthouse and Custom House right here on Market Street.
Good morning.
Now, St. Louis is part of the largest metro area in the state of Missouri, but it is the second largest city overall in the state, behind Kansas City, which is about 3.5 hours west. I know y'all see that arch back there. We're gonna get to that in a minute. That's the famous Gateway Arch, the world-renowned Gateway Arch, which is the iconic symbol of St. Louis. But we're gonna get up closer to it later on as we get over to Independence National Park. But over across the street right there in that building is KSDK Channel 5. So it's the NBC affiliate for the city of St. Louis. Here's another one of the courthouses right here. And check this out right here. It's just basically the history of St. Louis freedom suits plaintiffs. It gives a rundown of all the court cases that have taken place in St. Louis from 1814 to 1860. So here's it's a whole lot of them right here. And to name a few, it was Marie, a mulatto girl in 1822, a free mulatto girl. So this is a lot of it had to do with what's going on during the enslavement era. So it was a whole bunch of free individuals, free mulattoes, free Negro boys, free girls of color, all type of things. And here goes the sculpture right here. It's really cool, really nicely sculptured. But there was a lot of lawsuits, especially as it pertained to the freedom status of a lot of these slaves. So it's a few tall buildings over here. This one in particular looks like the AT&T building. Not quite sure what that building is right next to it, but it's a pretty tall structure. They have a building right in front of the arch, which is called the Peabody Building. But I'm gonna go ahead and continue down Market Street. Just wanted to detour and get that sculpture. Now, St. Louis has been an independent city since 1877, and it separated from St. Louis County. So it used to be part of St. Louis County. Now, St. Louis County still exists, and it has a ton of municipalities, but St. Louis City is an independent city. So in order to distinguish it from the county, you just refer to it as St. Louis City and refer to the county as St. Louis County. So check out this sculpture right here. Ah, this is dope. This is dope. This was actually by Keith Haring. Keith Haring, the graffiti artist that was out of New York, who passed away back in 1990, unfortunately. But he was the very famous graffiti artist who's mostly associated with hip hop culture. He did so he was the actual architect of this sculpture. He did the design, so that is really dope. Let me walk through this trail right here into this park. Looks like a sculpture of some looks like some rabbits right here. This is the Citygarden Sculpture Park. So they have fountains right here in the park, as you can see right over here. Step down. They also have, so you see the fountains, but they also have sculptures, and they have like a little garden right here as well. They have let me go get a closer up to it. But there's a garden right here, as you can see. That sun is out in full effect, and it's only 10:30 in the morning. So this will be a good time to come to play around in the fountains. But it's a nice sculpture right here. Oh no, it looks like the top part of it is shaped like a oyster or some type of, it has an opening in it. I'm not sure. Kind of looks like I don't know, man. I'm not sure what that opening is, but it looks nice. Looks nice. St. Louis does have some nice parks. I have visited here before. As you can see, these sculptures right here. It's like a stainless steel one right here. Now this is dope as well. But as I was saying, I visited St. Louis before. My uncle, God rest his soul, used to live here, and me and my mom and my grandmother, you know, we would come out here and visit him from time to time. So this isn't my first rodeo with this city. I guess this looks like a sculpture of Pinocchio. Yeah. Aha, peep this. Peep this, man. They got a titanium pick with the black fish coming out of it. How about that? I was definitely not expecting to see this. But this is an aluminum and stainless steel, all powered to all people, and it's a reflection. So it does have a meaning to it. And Hank Willis Thomas was the sculptor of this, and it was sculpted in 2021. So you just look at your reflection and you see that all people have power. So that's cool. And that is, shout out to Hank Willis Thomas for this beautiful artwork. Now this is by far the best sculpture that I've seen, and I've seen a ton of really good, nice sculptures, but that's really dope right there. That's really dope. And again, guys, this is the Citygarden Park in St. Louis. It's on Market Street. Right now I'm at the corner of Market and 9th Street. So you can see the other buildings right here. Now this building right here is the Bank of America Tower. Go ahead and cross. In front of this Spire building. This is also nice right here. forgot to mention the population of St. Louis. Now, St. Louis City proper has a population of a little over 300,000, but the entire metro area has almost 3 million, so about 2.8 million. So the metro area is extremely big because the metro area extends to suburbs not only in Missouri, but also across the state line in Illinois, across the Mississippi River. So St. Louis has a very extensive metro area. So it's a lot of history associated with St. Louis as it comes to Supreme Court cases, also as it pertains to sports and just history in general, Civil War history, you name it, it's right here in St. Louis. Uh-oh, Sheryl Crow is coming to, oh, I think she, well, matter of fact, she already left. This was on August the 10th. There was an event with Sheryl Crow at the Dome at America Center. Okay. Well, that's cool. Sheryl Crow came to town. Now right here, this building right here with this dome is the old courthouse for St. Louis, and it is currently under renovations. Now, this building opened up in 1864, but construction started on it in 1816. So it took almost 50 years to complete this building. But this is the old courthouse right here in St. Louis, and again, it's currently under renovation. I'm over here at the corner of 4th and Market Street, getting ready to cross over. Got this Drury Plaza Hotel right here. This building is one of the few remaining links to St. Louis fur trade that began with the city's founding in 1764. The International Fur Exchange opened in 1920 and soon boasted the world's largest raw fur exchange. Here, farmers sold furs trapped in southeast Missouri swamps to help their families survive the Great Depression. In the 1940s, 80% of the world's fur seal pelts were sold here, including those from the Pribble Islands in the Bering Sea. Beaver, fox, and other animal pelts from the Rocky Mountains were also auctioned here. So apparently this building right here was used for fur exchange, in the fur trade. Tell too, also St. Louis did a lot of they're doing renovations on this courthouse, but they also done a good job of you know, designing their parks, building nice green spaces. Go over here real quick. Now this is blocked off because of the construction that's going on. But over here, I'm gonna see if I can get as best shot as I can in front of the courthouse. Is Dred and Harriet Scott, and this was part of the huge Supreme Court case of Dred Scott. So that's a statue right there. Now, those that aren't familiar with the Dred Scott versus Sanford case, it was a Supreme Court case that took place in the 1800s. And it was basically it had to do a lot with blacks having citizenship, and people of black African descent particularly. So this was in reference to Dred Scott, who was an enslaved black man whose owners had taken him from Missouri, a slave-holding state, into Illinois and the Wisconsin territory where slavery was illegal. When his owners later brought him back to Missouri, Scott sued for his freedom and claimed that because he had been taken into a free U.S. territory, he had automatically been freed and was no longer a slave. And he actually won that case as well. Actually, no, take that back. They actually lost that case. I'm sorry. He actually lost that case because the decision in that court case was that the Constitution did not extend American citizenship to people of black African descent, and they could not enjoy the rights and privileges. So it was a huge, controversial, and one of the worst Supreme Court decisions ever. So that was very unfortunate, but nevertheless, it was still a very landmark case in the history of Supreme Court cases in the U.S. As I make my way to the Gateway Arch National Park, we have finally made it to St. Louis's premier landmark. Now the Gateway Arch is actually considered a national park, so this is the Gateway Arch National Park. Now the arch itself is 630 feet tall, and it's made out of clad stainless steel, and it's the world's tallest arch. So at 630 feet, there's no other arch around the world that eclipses the height of the Gateway Arch in St. Louis. And it's supposed to commemorate the westward expansion of the US, as St. Louis is known as the gateway to the west. So this is the arch right here, and I believe there's like a museum right here as well, kind of like on the ground level. Here's a really nice view of the city from the Gateway Arch Park. You see the Hyatt Hotel right over there. Look how big this field is. But it sits right next to the Mississippi River, as we're going to get closer up to the Mississippi. I don't know, guys, I just felt like doing that. And we ran across our first marker here in St. Louis. And this is a commercial building. In 1787, Auguste Chateau had enlarged the original, much smaller company building. The trading post occupied the first floor, and the Chateau family lived above. And Pierre Leclerc and Auguste Chateau traveled from New Orleans in 1763 to set up new fur trading post. They found an ideal town site here on the west bank of the Mississippi River, where the limestone bluff would protect the town from flooding. Oh yeah, that's another thing too. Yes, St. Louis does sit on a river bluff, so it does protect the city from flooding. So usually cities that are by a river, in most cases are prone to flooding, but St. Louis is the exact opposite. So, you know, this was a prime location for fur trading back then because of its immunity to floods. Gateway is a beautiful, beautiful park. Give a little bit more footage along the riverfront before we make our way back downtown, because there's still more to see downtown. So they have a helicopter pad over there on the river. So you see that helicopter just flew in and landed on the helipad. Then you also have the Gateway Arch riverboat. So they have riverboat cruises that go across the Mississippi River. But if you go further down those steps, there's also little seating areas next to the railing by the river. So very, very cool. And again, here's another view of the arch. You're standing right underneath it. And aside from it just having the arch and a few markers and a couple of seating areas, there's also jogging trails here. And I mean, it is a park, so it functions as a park where you can just come and just relax and take a load off, whatever it is you want to do. Just a little map of the Gateway Arch Park. Small items like this Lorraine cross and a beaver motif were easily portable for trade. So this is just a trading route across the Missouri River and the Mississippi Rivers. So you have multiple cities off the Missouri River, like Pierre, South Dakota, Omaha, Nebraska, St. Joseph, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and And then you have on the Mississippi, you have Dubuque, Iowa, and you have St. Louis, of course. And St. Louis is where the Mississippi and Missouri rivers join and form a confluence. So some cities, especially those along rivers, grew from fur trading posts set up by St. Louis traders. So these are other, you know, you also had the Osage tribe, which was also another Native American tribe that traded with Laclede and all of those other guys. So Joseph Robideau arrived in 1770 and he pushed west along the Missouri River, where he met other tribes and set up new trading posts. So St. Louis was basically the starting point for a lot of the fur trades across through other cities. So yep, that is the Gateway National Park here in St. Louis. Let me get one more shot of the arch for the road, and we're gonna proceed.